Glad to have you with us here on Seattle Seahawks Today. Tyler Jones here. Thanks for stopping by as we are talking about the undrafted free agent signings for your Seattle Seahawks. We have the full list. We'll break them down coming up in just a few moments. With the NFL draft in the rearview mirror, what was your one-word reaction to Seattle's draft? Weigh in the comment section and let us know what you think. I'm satisfied, very pleased with what I saw from the Seahawks. I'll go satisfied. Give me your one-word reaction. We'll get started with today's show. Let's begin with San Jose State quarterback Chevan Cordeiro on this list. Cordeiro, man, he was something else at San Jose State over the last few seasons. Stands at 6 foot, 200 pounds, out of Honolulu, Hawaii, the all-time Mountain West Conference leader in touchdowns responsible for with 113. Also, the all-time conference leader in total yardage with 13,811 and completions with 771. He threw for 2,773 yards with 20 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions in 2023. That was enough to earn him All Mountain West first-team honors this past season. Also on the list is George Holani, the running back out of Boise State. He was the 23rd ranked running back on our big board and the 267th player overall, weighing in at 208 and 5'10", 24 years old, out of Bellflower, California. TaMerik Williams, running back from North Dakota State, also another running back signing for Seattle. Began his career with SMU, ended up with North Dakota State, and he comes in at 6 foot 218 out of Angelton, Texas, a senior. Then we turn our attention to the wide receiver position, somebody that folks in the Big Sky Conference in the Pacific Northwest would be very familiar with out of the FCS. That is Hayden Hatten, wide receiver from Idaho, stands at 6'1", 207 pounds, out of Scottsdale, Arizona. And this one's going to be a fan favorite, I think, among the UDFAs. The one and only Jack Westover, tight end from the University of Washington, signs with Seattle. And this is a guy that had a chance to be drafted. He was on our big board as the number 14 tight end, 262nd overall player in this year's draft. And he was a pivotal part of the Washington Huskies offense this past year, as he played a significant role in that team getting to the college football playoff and getting to the national championship game. His total numbers this year included 46 catches for 433 yards and 4 touchdowns. I think he's a solid football player. At best, he is a blocker. We'll see what he can do about his receiving ability, but certainly has the blocking skills. Did have some limited production, could carve out a back-of-the-roster type of role of sorts, but don't fret. I'll tell you this right now, Jack Westover certainly got a chance to make the roster here for the Seattle Seahawks, a system he's familiar with. Remember, he played under Ryan Grubb and Scott Huff with the Washington Huskies, so we'll see what Jack Westover can do if he can make the roster for Seattle. Who is your favorite UDFA the Seahawks signed? I imagine, Jeff, that Jack Westover is going to be a popular answer here, but if it's not him, who else is it? I'll tell you mine here in just a bit, but I want to hear from you guys. Wait in the comment section and let us know what you think. Also on the list, another offensive tackle. This one is South Dakota State's Garrett Greenfield. The sixth signing from the Seahawks comes in at 6'5", 311 pounds, the number 22 offensive tackle on our big board, 258th player overall, 25-year-old senior out of Rock Valley, Iowa. Then we find Xavier Delgado, the offensive guard from the University of Missouri Tigers. And Delgado is a very interesting prospect of what he brings to the table. A big fella, 6'4", 321 pounds, and was a big part of the success of the Missouri Tigers this year, who ended up winning the Cotton Bowl this past season and had their best year they've had in years. Here is my personal favorite signing. Finally, my 2 cross have passed. As many of you know, I attended the University of Kansas, and I've been following this guy for a while. Excited to see that Mike Novitsky, his nickname's Dirk for obvious reasons, is coming to the Seattle Seahawks, a free agent signing. there was a lot of hype, actually, about Mike Novitsky entering 2023 as he was projected by many to get picked in the draft. Ended up having kind of a down year after being a preseason All Big 12 selection this past year. 6'5", checks in at 309 pounds. Played in 10 games for Kansas and started all of them this past season. Was an All Big 12 honorable mention. Back in 2022, Novitsky was an All Big 12 second-team selection. Started all 12 games at center in 2022. In 745 snaps, Novitsky didn't allow a single snap in 2022 while allowing just 2 QB hits. Novitsky led the Jayhawk line to allow just 9 sacks, which was the 7th fewest in the nation in 2022. So watch out. Could have a chance potentially to make that final roster and compete for one of those spots at the center position for Seattle. More to come here on Seahawks Today in just a moment, but first, let's tell you about today's sponsor. That is PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. Choose 2 or more players on any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking rebounds in basketball, home runs in baseball, maybe it's birdies in golf, fantasy points in NASCAR, all sorts of different categories to choose from. And here's what we got. We're looking ahead, the NBA playoffs, and I got a little Smitty special here for you. This is what Smitty came up with. So if you lose on this, don't blame me. If you win on this, you can give Smitty a little credit too. Here's what we got. We got Nicholas Batum to have less than half block shots. Got Tyrese Maxey to have more than 2.5 turnovers. Got Joel Embiid to have less than 1.5 assists. And then we have Josh Hart to have less than 14.5 points in their game coming up against the Philadelphia 76ers. It's 4 picks to win $250, and you also get the $25 power play as well, a part of that. You can play along with us, prizepicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS for a $100 deposit match on your first entry. Download PrizePicks today. Check them out. Get that deposit match. Link is in the comments and description of today's video. Check out PrizePicks today. This guy's got a picture, so that means he probably should have been drafted, right? Nelson Caesar III, edge rusher from the University of Houston, is another signing for the Seattle Seahawks. We had him as the number 20 edge rusher in this year's draft in the 204th player overall. Stands at 6'2", 254 pounds, 23 years old, out of Missouri City, Texas. And this is somebody that his hand usage is solid. He's got a good spin move, relies on winning with his speed. He's a better athlete than what he had tested back at the Combine. Contains well as a run stopper. His numbers last season in 11 games played had 43 tackles, 13.5 tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks, 1 pass breakup in 33 pressures. Consistent growth there with the Houston Cougs there in Houston, and adapted well to playing in the Big 12 Conference this year. Some others for you include Richard Jibunor, the edge rusher from the University of Troy, out of Nigeria, 25 years old, stands at 6'2", 232 pounds. Meanwhile, we also include on the list Sundiata Anderson, edge rusher from Grambling, out of the SWAC Conference. Checks in at 6'4", 247 pounds, out of College Park, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta there. Then another edge rusher, Devere Levelston, edge rusher out of SMU. He is originally from DeSoto, Texas. Checks in at 6'3.5". DeSoto, by the way, the same town that Byron Murphy is from. So good chance the two know each other. Weighs in at 281. Rason Williams, defensive tackle from Louisiana Tech, also on this list as well. 6'5", 272, out of Houston, Texas, a senior. A couple more for you here. They include Aaron Beasley, linebacker from the University of Tennessee, and he checks in at 6 foot 202, out of Franklin, Georgia, a senior this past season. Easton Gibbs, a linebacker from the University of Wyoming, also on the list as well. 6'3'8", 232 pounds, 23 years old, out of the state of California. And then Carlton Johnson Jr., corner from Fresno State, also on this list as well. And we had him on our big board as the number 39 corner, as the 276th best player in this year's draft at 5'10 and 5'8", 175 pounds. You can see a little bit small out of Monero Valley, California. Dee Williams, a wide receiver out of Tennessee. A couple Tennessee players on this list today. Checks in at 5'10 and a half, 190 pounds out of Forsyth, Georgia. Not listed on our big board. And then the final player on our list is Torrance, a corner from Arizona State. And this guy's got good size, 6'2", 206, 23-year-old senior from Bessemer, Alabama, is the final UDFA for the Seattle Seahawks there. So with that, here is the full list of UDFAs, as you can see, going through them piece by piece, kind of a recap here so you can see for yourself here, as the Seahawks in total end up with 18 UDFAs on this list. But that's not all. They also have their camp invites as well. These are players that also did not get drafted. They didn't get signed to a roster spot, but they have a chance to potentially earn a roster spot at rookie minicamp. They include Dakereon Joyner, wide receiver from South Carolina, Devin Richardson, linebacker from Washington State, Travion Brown, linebacker from Arizona, Kadarian Roy, safety from Tulsa, and then Sam Lockett, a safety from Washington State as well. So a few Washington State players getting some love on that list. How would you grade the Seahawks UDFA class? Give me a grade in the comments section. A, B, C, D, or F. No complaints from me on this UDFA class. What do you guys think? Let us know. Appreciate you joining us here on this edition of Seahawks Today. The coverage continues all offseason long. We'll be talking rookie minicamp here in the next few days, so certainly looking forward to that. We'll see you next time right here on Seahawks Today. Subscribe now.